Hello, beautiful humans. Welcome to Ask for Roles and Places. This is the final part in our series, our 4-part series of 4 asks of leading your life and biz to soulful success. Welcome. If this is the first time that you are catching this live series and you haven't watched any of the other parts to it, don't worry, the replays will be available. And today is really relevant to really anyone, whether you've followed the series or not. Today, we're talking about roles and places. We're getting into a deeper understanding, a different understanding of purpose. And so just to kind of reiterate, what is this series been about? Why does it matter? And how is it going to help you, feel like you are in momentum, like you've got clarity, you've got vision, you've got some fire under you to go out there and really take your next step in manifesting your soul-driven life and business. Well, this week, we've been really getting into foundations. So say hello if you are joining me. This series has been about foundations. And, we haven't been talking about tactics and strategies and, the maybe like a different level of business or a different way of approaching life with, specifics in terms of like, do this, do this, in terms of, putting a business together or putting a marketing strategy together. What we've really been stepping back and stepping deep into is the kind of foundation on a soul level and soul understanding of really what it takes. If you are here to build a sustainable and fulfilling and meaningful life on the long term, right? Not overnight stuff, not, quick flash in a pan, and then it's over in a few years. If you are here for like long-term life fulfillment, meaning purpose, soul-driven abundance, then you have to build that out from a certain foundation. A foundation that's going to hold you, that's going to support you for the entirety of your life, for the entirety of your beautiful business, if that is what you are here for to create. Good morning. Hello, Partha. So, what is soulful success, right? Let's get back into what does this really mean to be creating success in life or your business, your career from a soulful place. It is the type of success that gives you deep fulfillment and meaning. It's the type of success that impacts lives and brings abundance, not just to you, but to others as well. And the kind of success that is flowing from direction from your intuitive soul. Right, that connection with that deeper part of yourself, maybe rather than the type of success that might come from, what you've been trained in, what you're good at, what other people have told you that you should do or that you're good at. This type of success that is oriented where your compass is that soul part of you, that intuitive part of you. That is the kind of success that we are talking about. And today specifically, we're talking about roles and places. Now, let's just do a quick recap of where we've been this week. Ask 1 was all about you, right? When you are stepping into a deeper, creating a life from a soul-driven place, what will be asked of you is to develop a new relationship with yourself. Ask number 2 is that you will be asked to develop a new relationship with resources, specifically the 5 abundance resources, in order to, move forward, create the vision that you want. And ask number 3 is that you're going to be asked to create redefine a relationship between the world, you and the world, you and your spouse, you and your family, you and your community, you and your friends, you and the rest of the world, and how you show up and express and receive and navigate all of that. And ask number 4 is about roles and places. So roles and places really has to do with opening up an understanding of purpose. We're here to live out a purpose. I've spoken with a lot of people who have struggled, and I used to struggle with this immensely for a number of years, like feeling like I didn't have a specific purpose. Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever really wondered if and looked around you and saw, other people like in their glory, right? In their joy, like building that dream business or in that dream career or building that family or, living out the traveling, the traveling nomad lifestyle and kind of going like, gee, I really wish I had a clear sense of why I was here and what I was meant to do. Or maybe, for you, you felt like you were on purpose, right? You started creating your career or developing that lifestyle that you thought was going to give you meaning and purpose. And now you've come to a point where something's shifted and something's feeling out of alignment. And you're wondering, like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? That can happen. And what I want to offer you today is an understanding of what gets to happen as we step into our roles and places, our roles and places in time and in the constellation that we are a part of. So let me distill this down. Number one, we are never not living our purpose. We are never not living some kind of purpose. Right from the beginning of the moment that we are expressed here on this earth, we are here for one, not the only one, but a major purpose of why we're here is to grow into the best possible person that we get to be. Underneath everything, that is our number one thing, is our growth into the best possible, most expressed person that we can be on this earth. So right from the very beginning, you're always living that purpose. You're growing, you're learning, you're absorbing, you're doing something that is part of the reason why your spirit came here, was to develop that human self, integrate that with the soul self, become awakened to the soul or core self, which is what we talked about on Monday. And that is always something that is always occurring. So let me know if that relieves some pressure to know that you're always living a purpose. And we have more than one purpose. We get to take different roles and different places in time and in different manifestations of the whole. Because think about this. You are not the only person manifesting on this earth. Am I right? Other people are in their own way and in their own roles and places at different times on this earth. And guess what? Sometimes, without knowing it, we are playing a role that is helping someone else along in their purpose, even though we have no idea that maybe in that moment, in that place and time, right? Place and time, in that place, in that city, in that period of life for them, that we are actually a key instrumental piece to them becoming fully expressed and them becoming fully aware and them fully living into their purpose. We've played a role, and that role may never be known to us. Think about that. That role may never be known to us until we come at, our life from a perspective of, I am always serving a purpose, right? So isn't that beautiful to consider that is just another element, that is another way that you serve purpose on this earth. So what about your understanding of where you are in your life and your soul-driven career, your soul-driven business, your soul-driven family, right? In your growth, right? In your development and your learning and the development and the expression that you are and the understanding integration, depending where you are with ask 1, ask 2, and ask 3, this is always an integrated and ever expanding influence, a circle of influence and pattern of influence and cycle of seasons that is going to be continually elevating and opening up different expressions of your purpose. So I've talked about, like, the feeling of putting your ladder up against the wrong wall. And I want to, really kind of shift that understanding about sometimes our human self feels like in our soul, we feel like we put our ladder up against the wrong wall. But in reality, that wall has been that ladder, right? That ladder has been a way to become prepared and to open up the next layer of the different asks of us. And so this contributing cycle, ask 1, developing a new relationship with yourself, opens up understanding and connection with yourself. Fulfilling ask 2 opens up your understanding of how your relationship with the abundance resources, money, time, creativity, infinite unknown potential, which opens up then another layer of asking you to develop a new relationship with the world. Well, when we're continuously doing all of this, this is expansion, and this is a cycle that influences your next understanding, your next expression of purpose. And right from the very beginning, even though you may not have a recollection of when and how, right, until you really start to think about it, you really start to reflect and you spend that time thinking back over the years of your life, you were always in some kind of preparation for or some kind of expression of the purpose that you came here to serve. We're always navigating, the proximity of our understanding of what that is, right? And when we feel solid, it's because we've awakened to a deeper understanding of it. We've awakened to a new way to express it. But we were never not in that purpose. We're just in a different awareness and a different proximity to how much we're honoring that and how much we're really fulfilling that expression of it, and through our understanding, through our honor of it. So as you can see, this is deep stuff, right? This has nothing to do with tactics. This has nothing to do with, building your email list. But when you really understand from this place, right, your role and place can change over time and your expression builds and grows, that there is this sense of solidness, of clarity that you get to take with you into your life that affects you energetically. And that's really where a lot of success, our soulful success, stems from, right? It's our vibration. It's the coherence of our vibration, the harmony of our vibration, the lightness of our vibration that really drives that confidence, that self-worth, that, that spark, that energy that attracts and magnetizes people to you. And that's why it's so important. So one thing I want to go back to before we close off today is this understanding of different roles and different roles that people have, and sort of like the essential kind of flavor or theme of living our purposes. So every person can come into this world with what we know as an archetype. And there are so many books, there's a lot of different fields, there's a lot of different understandings and teachings around archetypes. And what this means is that it's kind of like your essential nature that can be expressed in any format, like multiple ways throughout your life. And I kind of already hinted at this earlier, right? How you can be a child and you in your family or at your school or wherever, and be in this purpose, be in this, but the expression of it might not be, set in stone for like, this is life. This is the rest of your life. But you'll always kind of have this essential nature about you, this magic that you came into the world to figure out what it is and what it gets to be as you shift and grow as a human person and change the expression of it as you grow. So, what are some of the archetypes that might be possible? And how do we kind of like feel like lean into an activation of maybe your understanding of your purpose today? So I'm going to kind of rattle off some of my own interpretations and what I've seen of archetypes being played out, essences being played out. And I want you to kind of listen for what yours might be. If you kind of resonate on a body level, that there could be something about this essence that is within you and you've always been expressing, even from a young age, even though you might not have recognized it. So we get to have these different expressions in the world, and each person may end up being one or more archetypes. Healer is an archetype. Healer. Teacher. Interpreter and clarifier. Interpreter and clarifier. Mirror. Constructor. Instigator or catalyst. Beautifier. Entertainer. Diplomat. Conduit, vessel, or channel. These are all overarching essences or archetypes. And from a young age, all through your teenage, through your adulthood, can you think back to times where you naturally stepped into being an expression of being a vessel or channel? Are you someone who receives information, divine information, intuitive information? Are you someone who can connect to the spirit world and guides and be a conduit for messages coming through? Have you been that weird kid that can talk to spirits, right? That can see other worlds operating? Are you that person that, hears things, sees things that other people don't see, and you get to be that person that delivers that message? Maybe you're a healer, right? And healing can show up in so many capacities. Healing can show up in so many expressions. It's not just relegated to, let's say, the medical profession or something like that, right? How about nurturer? That's an archetype I didn't mention. Where have you always been in the role or an essence of nurturing someone or some animal or some plant? Are you a garden nurturer, right? How has this showed up? Maybe you're an interpreter and a clarifier. You take in information, you research, you find yourself researching all the time. You're just naturally inclined to be able to take in complex information and then be able to distill it down for other people. Maybe you are the one in your organization that clarifies what the heck is going on to other people all the time. And maybe that's something of an essence that you have always played. Right when you were a kid, you were the one that helped everybody else out in the classroom. You were that kid that would, volunteer to help out the struggling kids. You're a clarifier in essence. Maybe you're a mirror. And when people need to have a deeper understanding of life or their role or their purpose, you're the one that holds up a mirror and asks people to ask themselves questions, or you hold up a mirror through documentary making because you want the world to have a reflection of how it's operating. Where have you always been a mirror in your life? holding up an elevated essence, an elevated understanding for other people to see. Maybe you're an instigator and a catalyst. Have you been that person? Were you that kid, that teenager that instigated things in it? And this isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? That either challenged the system, brought new ideas forward, catalyzed new ways of doing things. Always had to be that person that was like, you know what, we can do this a different way, or I see another way possible. Right? That is the role and the archetype of an instigator or catalyst. So as you can see, as you can hear, right, there's these different essences, and we're always operating in them whether we know them or not, but it's our proximity to the understanding and the proximity and our integration with how much we are awake and honor that part of ourselves that we get to either build on, express in the world, and evolve and expand from, or not, right? And as we move through the cycle and seasons of fulfilling and really leaning into ask 1, ask 2, ask 3, ask 4, then becomes even more clear, right? Our role and place in this particular time, this span of life, this constellation that we're in with other people, that will shift and that will change, while always yet still maintaining some kind of essence, right? Your essence, your archetype in all of it. So I hope this kind of gives you some clarity and not more confusion in terms of where you are going right now in this lifetime and where you have been. So I'm going to go to the comments now and kind of see if there's any questions, comments. Yeah, I can feel myself in many shoes, archetype wise, depending on the circumstances and what people need. Oh, interesting. Yeah. So you might have, like I said, every person might have a few different essences at play. And absolutely, depending on the circumstances and depending what people need and depending what other energies are around you, this is the role and place, right? That place in time, that place with other people. You are serving, you are activated in some element of serving purpose. So no one, so like using so many negatives, maybe I should switch it to the positive. Everyone, all the time, is always serving some kind of purpose, serving a really important purpose. And even today, if you feel like you have not yet discovered, well, what is my archetype? What is that through line? Or what are all the memories I can collect of when I was in my essence? Or does anything about, my soul-driven purpose make sense right now? Even if you're all of a sudden confused and all of a sudden wondering if you're going in the right direction, the best question you can ask and connect with the higher is to simply become quiet and ask, how may I serve the highest good? How may I serve my highest good, serve the highest good in this moment? And even that little spark, in that moment, in this tiny moment, from the tiniest moment to the biggest lifespan moment, body of work moment, it's all about honoring that little tiny purpose in that moment. What is the purpose right now to what is your bigger one as you go along, like moving through that, putting the pieces together. Yes. So that is ask 4, to redefine your relationship to your roles and places. Again, this theme, this whole week, we've been talking about redefining, redefining, redefining. And when we redefine our relationship to the understanding of purpose and our roles and places, how can I redefine my relationship to the role and place that I'm in right now, my understanding of who I am and how I am expressing what I have the freedom to express in this lifetime? Thank you for joining me today, you guys. This is something of a deep kind of work, obviously. This is foundational work. And while I've led you through as much as I can in this format, right, in these live streams, obviously there's a lot more behind this, right? There's a lot of integration and embodiment and living into these asks. And so this is something that I can help you with in a one-to-one coaching environment. And I have space for 2 individual one-to-one coaching clients starting in September. These don't open up very often, but I do have spaces to serve 2 one-to-one clients starting in September inside of what I like to call the Soulful Success Quantum Accelerator. What this will give you is a support person, and on the other side of moving you deeply through these asks, you will step into an entire new understanding of why you're here, what you're up to, and how you best maximize and leverage your abundance creating capacity as a result of it. So can you imagine at this point in time having sort of a sense, maybe sort of some abundance coming in, sort of a cohesion between what you're offering in the world, and coming from a place of sort of, and moving into a place of certainty, of total full expression, total full permission to show up as who you are, doing your work in the world in the most abundant way, and being able to receive, because we've worked on that part of yourself, to actually receive the abundance that is all around you and already on its way, that has been perhaps blocked up until now because you haven't fully been totally activated and living into the asks of you. So imagine stepping into such an amazing, grounded feeling of purpose, of soul fire, of clarity, of vision, of feet on the ground, that working into the new year in 2022, you are fully realized, fully expressed, and fully receiving and generating income, impact, and abundance and happiness. Wouldn't that be amazing? That is what I'm here to offer you in one-to-one coaching through the Soulful Success Quantum Accelerator. And I'll put a link to schedule a discovery call. Actually, it's more of a strategy call to figure out if this is the time for you, if this is the good, the next right step for you. And we'll have a one-to-one conversation about that to get you, set up with this, or if not, on your way into momentum with something else that is going to serve your highest good. Thank you for joining me, Partha. So good to see you. And absolutely, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you're watching this on replay, drop a replay into the chat. Also, drop your question. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have in the chat box. Thanks, lovelies. And this brings our series to a close. There will be a replays of everything and an easy to access, access anywhere from anytime, one place, one page to get all of the series. If you've missed Ask 1, Ask 2, or Ask 3, and you really want to catch up on those because they're such important pieces of, this whole thing coming together, I'm going to put a page together and I'll share that access with you so that you can really spend some time deeply integrating this deep foundational wisdom that really sets you up for a fulfilling, soul-driven life and business. You're most welcome. And we'll see you again soon, you guys. Bye.